What's going on, gamers? So we had a lot of rumors and talk coming out of the Jez world, um, basically saying that there could have been a window that Microsoft could possibly pull its games from Steam, stop putting its exclusives on Steam, Xbox Helix wouldn't have Steam, and now we're doing this because this is how the Xbox world is. So yeah, AGN is now going back this way. You see? That's what's going on in the Xbox world all the time. You kind of get it. Yeah, that's them. So we got to do this when we're dealing with Xbox sometimes, or anything in that world because, it's always switching around. So despite recent rumors, Xbox reportedly has no plans to stop releasing games on Steam. So Microsoft needs Steam. Yeah, you might not want to do that. Look, I wouldn't take the gamble because if you're going to do that, then basically, like I said, you would try to put yourself in the PlayStation situation without the PlayStation success, third-party support, and install base. And you would need the PlayStation community mindset. I can't get day and date games. No first-party games are coming day one on PlayStation Extra. You see, Extra is kind of like what it is. Premium is included with classics and all that type of stuff, but Extra is the sauce. Plus is what you want to get for a discount if you just want to play stuff all year. And the cool thing about the PlayStation Plus, when it was affordable or when it goes on sale, is that if you did buy that 1 year of Plus, as time goes down, it gets cheaper to get the other options. And if, you could do that if you want. But I haven't been on PlayStation Plus in a while. And the reason why is because I don't see the need, and the games that I'm playing at the moment are just single player. But getting back to this, though, so we're just basically talking about how Microsoft, in order to place the game Sony's playing, or Nintendo, you would have to be in the same position with the same success and market share and all that, and be kind of close and have people that want to buy your products in Europe and somewhat in Japan. But mostly you need Europe, obviously, big time, as a Western gaming company. Whereas Japan or Asia mostly supports Asian products. So that's just how that works. But people love buying their products overseas from a Japan standpoint, because overseas would be over here. But overseas to us would be in Japan, as you guys know. And that's the difference between Xbox and PlayStation and Nintendo, is that, or Steam works too because it's on PC, but we're talking about hardware here. They can be worldwide, whereas Xbox is not worldwide. It's basically stuck now in America. Nobody buys their products in Europe, and nobody buys their products in Japan. So how will you reach them? Well, this is why they have multi-platform approaches, cloud and Game Pass on PC and stuff like that. Otherwise, nobody is interested. You know what I mean? Or putting their games on Steam. Because then you're just in a market where anything outside of America can still somehow support your product. So that's why I say that them abandoning Steam means that what you're going to be doing is shutting yourself off in Europe and in Japan for your products. Your publishing would just dwindle. You can't rely off of America to only support you when it comes to hardware, because video game consoles historically have always been a worldwide thing, except Xbox. So according to Windows Central's Jez Corden, here we go again, Microsoft is actually expanding its PC gaming strategy while continuing to support Steam. Okay, so Microsoft is actually letting you know that they can't rely on the Xbox hardware. So they're going to expand in the PC market, and they're going to continue supporting Steam because they know better. And you're going to continue supporting PlayStation and Switch 2 as well. That's why they were saying, like one exclusive a year, maybe two or whatever. We'll see how it works. Like, that's a long time. That's like saying, look, I'll give you one game. The rest of my catalog yearly is going to be on PlayStation, Nintendo, and Steam. And if it's not on Nintendo, it's because it can't play on there. But if it can play on Series S, it can play on the Switch too. Let's stop playing games here, right? Why would you pass that up? So continuing, it says Battle.net potentially opening up to third-party developers. Now Microsoft's going to be focusing on another app, Battle.net, opening up to third-party developers, although it's unclear if that plan has changed under new Xbox CEO, Asa Sharma. I mean, you have Activision, so you have that store. I'm thinking that you are definitely going to want to expand that. Why would you not? That's just more third-party support. If somebody does not want to use Xbox, or somebody just loves Battle.net and they can go the Epic Games route, or maybe even better. There's nothing wrong with that, but most people are going to want to stick with Steam, obviously. Positron, as we know, I made in that last video, it's not a rumored anymore. This was before. It's actually happening. You have the disc to digital conversion. We talked about this before. So Positron, Microsoft's rumored future that could convert supported physical Xbox game discs into digital license, is still reportedly on track to be revealed in August, which is absolutely correct, because that's exactly what just leaked out this morning, as we saw that was being told to developers what is going to happen. So Xbox Helix is going to be diskless. Duh, we kind of already knew that, right? Unless Microsoft out of nowhere wants you to do that, but yet they're adding an option for disk drive. It doesn't make sense if you want people to convert something into digital on Xbox One and Xbox Series X. Because obviously, if you were going to make that for the Helix, then you would have to where they could put the disc in there. You're like, oh, wait, hold on, that doesn't make any sense. No, you're doing that on these consoles right now so that people could get ready for a diskless model that nobody's really going to buy except diehard Xbox fanboys. And I have to say that because I'm not saying that to beat it down. I'm just saying that that's just the medium at the moment. The only people that are buying Xboxes, you have to like, I don't know, why would you want to do that? And why would you want to go buy that 1 terabyte Series S or one in general when you can get a digital PS5, which is way more powerful and beats the Xbox Series X sometimes in comparison? You're just like, wow, why does that work sometimes? Operating systems and optimization, though mathematically the Series X is more powerful, it should be winning, right? But you could say I could put the Series X at the beginning of the generation versus the PS5, and the PS5 is beating it. I could put the Series X with the same specifications with a Steam OS and Proton, and it's destroying it. And you're like, wait. And I was like, well, there's a lot more to just hardware sometimes. There's operating systems, firmwares, and stuff like that. And the way things just actually work, depending on how it's developed, right? And I think that's where we didn't see that. Whereas, like, the other factors were like, well, that's because when PlayStation 4 Pro was introduced, it was a smooth transition from PS5. It was easy to develop for. And most of the developers on the market at that time were optimizing their games for PlayStation. Xbox was weaker too at that time, besides the Xbox One X. So when Sony made the PS5, they made it easy to basically convert and develop for. Where Microsoft had full RDNA 2, and it was totally different from Xbox One. So what that means is that they would have to do stuff from the ground up. And they took a look at market share and they realized it wasn't worth it. So they was just giving PlayStation the best optimization. And sometimes things were being bulldozed over to Xbox, but things got better over time and we still didn't see much of a difference. But there's sometimes moments where you're like, okay, Series X is winning here. It has a better CPU, has a better GPU, and has higher RAM. So why is it not? There's times where PlayStation were winning and you're like, it doesn't make any sense. I'm like, well, I just gave you all the options, so it has to be something like that, right? And people start saying Mark Cerny. I'm like, yeah, I get it. But even then, like I said, look at the operating system differences. And we've seen that test when the ROG Ally was coming out too, and it was running against the Steam database or Steam Proton operating system. And the differences were like, whoa, why is it winning like this? And that made Microsoft want to actually improve everything at that point. So sometimes that type of stuff plays into factor, just saying. Continued investment in the Xbox PC app, as we see, Xbox Play Anywhere, PC backwards compatibility, and better integration with third-party launchers. So they're still moving towards that. But this is, once again, what I'm talking about. Like, if you're going to be moving at two things at once, Microsoft, you're not winning in a huge position to where it's like you could do both and it's fine. Like Sony still, no matter what, PlayStation sold so much, PlayStation success is so much, even though they were putting their games on Steam, because they could do it. And then they removed everything and they're fine. It's not going to hurt them. Whereas Microsoft was doing everything day one on PC and everything day one on Xbox, and that destroyed physical game support and digital game support. And their numbers were very low. Plus putting stuff on mobile and all of that. Whereas Sony was like, okay, I'll share some of my games with you, but I'm not giving you my services. You ain't getting PlayStation Plus on PC like that. You're not getting PlayStation Plus Extra on mobile like that. And I can still stand on my own and be successful while doing that. It's not really hurting my ecosystem like you thought. Whereas in the Xbox world, everything was being taken down significantly. So what that means is that Microsoft cannot survive on their own. They need Xbox PC app. They need Xbox Play Anywhere. They need mobile. They need PC backwards compatibility. They need Steam. They need Nintendo, and they need PlayStation. Basically a third-party publisher that's still playing games with its leftover hardcore base in the Xbox world. I'm talking about Xbox console focus, and it's like, really? No, I mean, it's done. So this gives you the idea that them not abandoning Steam means that they're not going to take that decision. And bravo, you're not being slow, because don't do that, please. What you're going to do is you're going to trap yourself in a dead world on the Xbox ecosystem. You're going to put an exclusive in there, and a game that will cost you $250 to $300 million is going to just fall off a cliff, because you're going to be missing a couple $100 million from PlayStation, Steam, and Nintendo. You just can't play that game anymore. The only way that could possibly work is if some miracle happened and you got a Jesus resurrection, and all of a sudden you're back in the 360 era and you're selling, what, 12 to 15 million consoles a year for like 6 years? Look, even 12 million, 12 times 6 is 72, right? You'd be like, oh man, you sold 77 million consoles. Yeah, you could play that game because everybody's buying your hardware with the exclusives, and your exclusives will have to sell millions of copies. Do you really believe that that's what's going on right now, Microsoft, for you, and that that's going to be happening in the future? I don't think so. No, what you're going to try to do is you're going to play a half exclusive game, meaning that it's still going to be on Steam, but it's going to be on Xbox only. Certain games, right? And you're just going to limit your publishing by not putting it on the biggest third-party platform in the industry, PlayStation. It's not Steam, it's PlayStation. PlayStation has the biggest third-party support in the industry. Steam has to do deep discount sales for certain things, but all third-party publishers make the most money on PlayStation besides Capcom. It's now happened to grow big time on PC lately, but Capcom is also getting a huge growth on Nintendo Switch 2 now. So that chunk is going to be split up a little bit more, though PC is still dominant to that extent. But expect Nintendo Switch 2 to pick up more and more as the install base gets bigger. So third-party support is going to get bigger, which is good because the industry is being supported more. That's not necessarily a bad thing. Whereas in the Xbox world, third-party support is pretty terrible. Microsoft has to send people paychecks so that they can support them and get it on Xbox or get it on Game Pass. But they're done with that now. No more subsidizing. So things are going to have to change here. I think Game Pass is going to change over the next year. It has to. It can't stay like that if they want to play that game, right? Sean Layden said pick a game. Either be a publisher or be a platformer. You know? And if you want to be a platformer holder and try to play that exclusive game like PlayStation, then to me, you're just committing suicide as a publisher. It's like, no, don't suicide publishing. That's the only thing you have left. I have to say this in a lot of videos because this is the right way for you. I'm saying this right now. Well, this is just trying to get people to go into digital license because, like I said, you're moving a PC route anyways. So what do you guys think? Do you think that you're upset, or do you think Microsoft's, excuse me, Annette, do you think that Microsoft is making a mistake by continuing with Steam and basically probably having Steam on the Xbox Helix? Or do you think that Microsoft should try to go the full exclusive route, remove Steam, like Sony removed their games from Steam, remove or not have Steam on the Xbox Helix, and try to make everything focus on the Windows app, the Windows Store, and the Xbox Helix? Let me know. I think that they should not do that, but I don't know. Other people think differently because somehow they believe that they can make a comeback. And I'm like, with the market making devices 3 to 4 times more expensive? If somebody didn't want to buy your console at $500, what makes you think, even if you did double it to only $1,000, which is going to be more than that, what makes you think that they would even consider? They wouldn't. Everybody's already fixated on what they want now. I'm not leaving my PlayStation digital library. I'm not leaving my Steam digital library. I'm not leaving my Nintendo digital library. You can't move me. This is where I'm staying. And that's what Phil Spencer was talking about when he said that at that point, that means they're not coming to you. So you're going to have to go to them. And he's right, because we're not going to be able to build again. You're just doing the tires like it's over. You know what I mean? When we lost the Xbox One conversion to Series X, it was over. PlayStation got to carry over that whole thing. And when Nintendo carried over their 155, 156, almost 157 now, install base to Switch 2, which is converting, that's an automatic victory. So what are you going to do Well, if you want your games to reach a wider audience, like just thinking from anybody on a market, I need to expand into these markets. I need to get to Walmart. I need to get to Target. I need to get to Best Buy. I need to get to Amazon. I need to get to GameStop and hit all these markets. I need to get to these platforms, because if I don't, then I'm stuck in my world, which doesn't support anything. And part of that is Microsoft's fault, of course, because that made people become comfortable on Game Pass. And even before that, it wasn't working, which is why they had to find an alternative solution. So to go back to that in a worse state, where the brand is more damaged, where nobody doesn't want to buy your consoles, and to say that they're going to be 2 to 3 times more expensive does not make any sense to me at all. That's why I'm saying that it makes sense why you're going to stay with Steam, why you're going to keep supporting PlayStation, why you set maybe 1 game per year, possibly 2, and they're going to be single player games. Because why would you limit your multiplayer audience to a base that could just dwindle real quick? No, you need as many people as possible when it's an online multiplayer game. That's not really a question. That's more like a realization that, yeah, if I opened up a theme park, why would I limit my audience? If I opened up a casino, I want it to be as live as possible. This has to happen. That's why Sony's even doing that for their live service games. They're not locking it in the PlayStation ecosystem. Single player games, you can do that because it doesn't require online. It's just whatever the sales are going to be. And that's what you need to support. So Microsoft trying that, I'm like, okay, you can, but if a game costs $400 or $500 million, which Clockwork should not cost nowhere near that, that's absolute insanity. No Nintendo game will ever do that. Why would you not have that on PlayStation? And why would you not be working on a Switch 2 edition? Even if you only got $2 million off of those two, guess what though? That's $140 million. If you sold the same thing between Xbox and PC, that's another $2 million. But guess what though? 7 times 4 is 28. You didn't even get 300 million yet. In order to make back money for Clockwork, you have to sell 8 million copies. 8 times 7 is 56. That's 560 million. Do you think that Clockwork is going to sell 8 million copies without PlayStation and Nintendo? And just Xbox and Steam? That game is going to have to be like some, phenomenon that nobody sees coming and the whole world wants to play it, and there's 1 million players on Steam day one. You said, oh, it already sold 2.5 million copies on Steam, and it sold 1 million on Xbox. Within a week, it sold 3.5 million. But remember, 7 times 4 is 28. You still got a ways to go. And then that's actually getting into the positive, because if you sold 7 million copies of Clockwork, that's 49. Everybody knows 7 times 7 is 49, so just add the zeros. It's $490 million. If you're marketing it, it's 500 million plus marketing. I don't get it. I really don't. Please explain this to me. How could that game be an exclusive? You believe the Xbox base is going to buy millions of copies of Clockwork? You're basically telling Steam to carry you. You're not making any sense. Look it up, guys. Clockwork costs 500 million. More than Gears of War. Yeah, crazy stuff, right? But there we have it. Now we're talking about, once again, why Microsoft cannot leave Steam. Because imagine Clockwork being stuck on Xbox. You ain't going to even get 100 million back. You're going to lose 400 million and they're going to get shut down and laid off. See, they would do that to themselves. That's why I say Xbox destroys itself. Or Microsoft destroys Xbox, though they're part of the same thing. But I mean, they've destroyed themselves more than anything else. Now, we know PlayStation stomped them, but they would still be fine if they were still making the right moves consistently. But when I see something like that, I'm like, why are you making that an exclusive? It should be games that don't cost 400 or 500 million. Or 500 plus with marketing. That's what Gears is going towards. Plus the PlayStation port that you have. You're not going to delete that because you're throwing away money. So yeah, get prepared for that in the future, because I just don't see it. It's the same thing with Gears. You're going to have to sell 8 million copies or something, hoping for 10. Luck. Become a member, leave a tip down below, like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you guys think. No matter what, keep on gaming, no matter what platform you're on. And as I said, yeah, I didn't think they were going to leave Steam. And if they do, I just let you know what's going to happen. Later.